Hello, hello, and welcome to Straight No Chaser with Dr. Julius Bailey. As you know, I am Dr. Julius Bailey, and we are live on the campus, a brisk day here at Wittenberg University in Springfield, Ohio. If this is your first time to Straight No Chaser, as I always say, we welcome you and we thank you for coming here. We are a 1-hour digital talk show where we bring you news, culture, politics, and sometimes we bring you some fun. If you enjoy what you experienced today, we ask you to like the Straight No Chaser page on Facebook. Also, you can subscribe to us on YouTube, share it with your friends, and let them know what's going on. Hey, we are 8 days away from this election. I know some of you just hope it hurry up and ends, right? But hopefully this will be the beginning of a new political era, both in my state here in Ohio, as well as the nation. I ask you, have you voted yet, right? Remember, across America, early voting has begun. And so you want to go to your county board. You want to fill out your mail-in, have a plan, right? Execute it, as they say, but bring a friend with you, right? I'm not ashamed to say that I am so excited to have cast my vote for my dear friend and colleague and Professor Richards, Cynthia Richards, for the State House District 79 of Ohio. That's my sister. That's my friend. She is good for Ohio. She's good for this area. I am unashamedly proud to say I voted for Miss Sheila Rice for Clerk of Courts here in Clark County. And U.S. House of Representatives. I did vote for the Ohio 8th District, Vanessa Enoch. Of course, y'all in the 10th know to get down with Desiree Timms. Admittedly, I didn't vote for sheriff. I ain't gonna lie to you. There's a lot of reasons I didn't. But if you want to debate me why I didn't cast a vote, you can. But I didn't vote for sheriff here in Clark County, Ohio. I'm not. I don't know Garmin. And Burkett, she and I have our issues when it comes to police in schools, but people like her, and I really don't care to, I don't know. Anyway, let's just move forward. But speaking of Ohio, right, where most of you are today, but if you're around the country, thank you for coming. But today, I'm excited to kick off our show. We have a full show, but we're going to kick it off with the president of one of Ohio's pride and joys. I got to kick it off with this short clip. Let's go ahead and show this clip, Mr. Engineer. Oh, Verada Land. That is a hit. I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, welcome the captain and president of Marauder Land, Dr. Jack Thomas. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Dr. Bailey, for inviting me and for playing that song and coming from our band. So it makes me excited here at Central State University.
Man, for sure, man. That song, I ain't gonna lie to you, that song never fails to move me, sir. I mean, it doesn't. I had the privilege of teaching there in '08 and '09, and when I first went to a game and heard that song and went, especially at the basketball inside the gym, it just sounds that much more poignant. I'm telling you, man. I know the band wasn't hitting like that at Western Illinois. Now was it? All right, I don't want to get you in trouble. We ain't gonna do that, right? But I just know, like I'm from Illinois, so I know the Western Illinois band wasn't doing nothing that the Invincible Marching Marauders do. But listen, man, I am proud, and I hope those that are tuning in now and later would join me in welcoming you and thanking you for joining and being the ninth president of the great institution there in Wilberforce, Ohio. Listen, you have been, both a student, right, at an HBCU. When you were young, you were a teacher and administrator of an HBCU. Just kind of tell us, like, this is an HBCU a day, and we're going to do the same thing Wednesday. Tell us and tell the audience why HBCUs are important in America.
As a student and as an administrator, to me, HBCUs have always been important. When I started attended and graduated from Alabama A&M University, as well as where I did my master's at Virginia State University. Mm-hmm. And looking at HBCUs today, I think HBCUs are more important today than ever. When you look at the historical significance and the roles that HBCUs have played over the years, it is nearly impossible to tell the American story without telling the HBCU story. In today's climate of social unrest, HBCUs have been placed at the forefront, and many individuals, leaders, and organizations are looking to HBCUs to help heal this nation in looking at all of the issues that we are faced with today. And we now see more students, as well as we see even more athletes, the top athletes going to HBCUs. And so HBCUs are more important today than ever.
No question, no question. And so, like I said, I know that the audience may know, but certainly, you've been there for a few months now. You come from Western Illinois University, which, as we know, is much bigger than Central State. What lessons or what foresight do you bring to Central State coming from a big state university like Western Illinois?
Well, in looking at my many years of experience, not just at Western Illinois University, but at other institutions like Johnson C. Smith University, South Carolina State, the University of Maryland, Eastern Shore, Middle Tennessee State University. I've held positions at all of those institutions. And because of the various kinds of experiences that I've had, that has well positioned me to lead an institution like Central State University. When you look at other institutions, particularly my most recent institution in the state of Illinois, they had budget reductions just like we have here in the state of Ohio. We went actually 2 years without receiving a state budget. And we had to be very innovative, very creative, and very flexible in terms of making sure that we were able to thrive even during those difficult times. And looking at the pandemic now, I look at that as a similar kind of situation, because we've had to, the university actually went online, fully online, as other institutions did. And then you had to reimburse students as well as for room and board because they were all online. And then we faced more financial challenges similar to what I have dealt with in the past. And because I've dealt with those challenges in the past, it has positioned me to better lead Central State University, which is a smaller institution. And I feel that we can get a lot more done here at Central State. And if you look at the 9 goals that I have proposed, you will see that we're not just surviving, but we are thriving.
Thriving.
And you will hear me say even more in this talk about, our theme is innovation is in our DNA. We believe that. We eat and sleep and breathe that. And we're moving Central State to the next level.
No question. And I'm certainly excited to have you on board and to have you in the community. And one of the speaking of COVID, I know you recently you had to have a virtual homecoming, right? And what was that all about? How did that turn out?
Well, that was a little different from any homecoming that I have seen before. But I thought it was just great. We had a virtual homecoming, and I was just pleased with the kinds of things that we were able to do.
Mm.
We had the band to perform.
Mm-hmm.
We had the university choir to perform, as well as we had the alumni and friends of the institution joining us. The alumni had a breakfast, a brunch, and they had a national alumni meeting where I gave the State of the University address. We had several classes, the class of 1970 and the class of 1965. I addressed both of those classes to talk about the future of Central State University. And then one of my vice presidents, Dr. Zilla Fluker, who's our vice president for institutional advancement,
okay,
during the virtual breakfast, a brunch rather, she had a setup for us as my leadership team. All members came dressed in Central State University's paraphernalia. And to look at us as the way we were dressed, and we had our music, we had football as if we were going to have a football game on the table, as well as the jerseys with the date of the founding of the institution. And when people saw that, they saw that we were just as enthused as if we were having a face-to-face homecoming. So that virtual homecoming went well, and we even raised about $140,000. Our alums did. And then you may have heard that I donated $50,000 of my salary to the university for scholarships for our students. That encouraged some of our alumni who came on board to talk about what they were doing to give and to match that from each class. So we're even expecting even more funding coming from our alums because they saw that at the homecoming that I made an investment, my leadership team made an investment, and my board of trustees member are making an investment. So that's going to help us with our multi-million-dollar fundraising that we're going to have here at Central State.
No question.
So the homecoming was great.
That's good. No question. And I know, like I said, when I contacted your office, I am excited, on social media, just how enthusiastic your alums are. And especially now, of course, I'm connected more so with the younger ones, the one have come out in the last 10 years. But certainly even, the ones who are still in the Dayton area, I see them all the time, right? So yeah. I just know that Central State has such a rich tradition. And the president before you, she done some great work in terms of moving the university forward. There's a lot of building going on your campus. Talk about that. What are some of the exciting new facilities and buildings that are being built on campus?
Well, when you look at our campus, we have a new student center that's been there maybe about 3 or 4 years now. And it is one of the state-of-the-art facilities on our campus. And it sits right in the heart, I say in the middle of the campus. And it really graces the campus quite well. And it really makes the campus look really, really good. And we're going to build a new ag farm. As you know, we are an 1890 land grant university. And we're going to build an ag farm across the Highway 42 across from the campus. And that's going to showcase the things that we do in ag. Also, we're starting a new honors college here. I just hired the inaugural executive director of the honors college. We do have 2 residence halls that are designated for the honors college. And we're going to build 2 more facilities. Some will be a couple will be residence halls, but we also want to have a specific area in terms of administrative area for our honors program. And this is where we're going to bring more of the high achieving students, those valedictorians, salutatorians, those merit final and finalists
Right.
for to bring more high achieving students, which will help in terms of our overall academic profile. But when you look at the campus, we do have a couple of other new facilities. When you look at our water resource management program, it's housed in one of the state-of-the-art facilities, which is fairly new as well. And we are the only HBCU with a water resource management program in the
Program.
and we are one of four institutions in the country. So we pride ourselves on having that signature program. And we're looking at others too. So we'll be looking at other facilities when we look at our overall master plan and what we plan to do here in terms of growth, in terms of facilities.
And the reason I asked that, I mean, obviously, is a chance for you to brag, but and then obviously brag on the work that your predecessor did. But it's because, as you know, like with building is a manifestation of life, right? It's a manifestation that this campus is not dull, it's not dead, it's not old, it's young, it's vibrant, it's growing. And so that is why I mentioned, and that's why those who are listening, who have young people who are interested in possibly coming to Central State, that's on their list, you need to know. You hear now from the current president, now you hear from him, you gotta co-sign by me saying, look, that place is vibrant, the place is doing great things. And Dr. Jack Thomas said it. Also, you know, you have a current partnership with Apple, right? And their racial justice a program that allows resources to sort of continue in technology. Can you talk about that program and partnership?
Yes, thank you so much for mentioning that. We were very pleased to get that relationship with Apple. And the relationship with Apple, racial justice and equity enables Central State University to foster community outreach and engagement with equipment investment and coding programming. This is a brainchild of Dr. Ravi Melton, actually, who is at Tennessee State University. And she's on my Blue Ribbon Task Force. And that Blue Ribbon Task Force was my transition into Central State University. And I like what she stated is that she wanted to see more minorities in terms of doing coding, as well as more women in the next 5 to 10 years doing coding than ever before. This is a great partnership for us. It provides funding as well as for some infrastructure kinds of things. And we're very pleased to partner with Apple.
No, that's exciting. That's exciting. And so you had made a little reference earlier about the relationship of COVID-19 on online school, obviously the homecoming piece. As you know, I'm sure just like our president here, Wittenberg, you're on the line with state legislator, often. As you look into 2021, what do you see? I know you may not have, you don't have answers, I know, but what are your expectations as we move into 2021 and the ways in which virtual learning or the opening up of the campus looks like?
Well, when we went into, I always say hibernation, not hibernation, but we actually went online fully, and that was prior to my arrival. But once I was named, I started working with the university officials and leaders, as well as board members, in terms of what we had an IRT, which is an institutional response team. Mm-hmm. And that institutional response team came up with a plan of how we would reopen the university in terms of providing a very safe campus. And I often say, even to the legislators and to the governor and to the other presidents and chancellors when we meet, that we are in a unique situation. We're in a rural area, and we feel that that worked in our best interest. We tested all of our students as well as our faculty and staff. The governor cited us for stating that we were one of the models because we tested all of our students, and he asked the other institutions to do follow suit and do similar things as we did. So we feel that we have a very safe campus. That institutional response team is looking again at how we're going to open in the spring once students come back in January, and then what we're going to do in case the pandemic continues on through the next fall semester. We'll be looking at that and deciding. But let me talk a bit about what this pandemic has done.
Mm,
Oftentimes we look at it as negative, and we know that it has had a negative and a tremendous impact on the world. But we got to look at the positives here as much as possible as we can do. We try to take the negative and turn it into a positive as much as possible. Um, we should have been online all along in terms of higher education. This has caused higher education to pivot and do more online. If you look at Central State
mm,
University, uh, for the future of Central State University, we're going to be doing more classes and more programs online. We have a great number of students online now, in addition to our traditional students. And that's where our enrollment will be continue to increase. We have increased this year in terms of online, but we want more academic programs. For example, we're just getting an MBA that will be approved. Was approved by the chancellor. Now is at the HLC
okay.
accrediting body, and we plan to launch that program next fall, totally online. We're working with our faculty to look at other academic programs that could be online. We just got approved an interdisciplinary program that would be online as well. And we're trying to transition more classes, more programs online so that we can reach not just have our students who may want to do just online, but we want to reach those non-traditional students. We
Right.
want to reach those students who are place bound, and we want to reach those individuals we consider to be stopout, where they
Mm,
started here at the university, but they didn't finish, and now they're into their careers, and we want to make sure that we're reaching out to them as well to get them to complete their degrees. Uh,
yeah.
and more traditional institutions, more traditional students, and then we'll be working with business and industry to educate those populations as well.
That's exciting. And again, we are on with we're closing an interview with the president of Central State University, and we're excited about this. You had mentioned non-traditional students, and as we know, one of the gems of your campus actually is also the West Campus, right? That's located right in the heart of West Dayton, which is a rich Black community. People like Mayor Ryan McClin, and obviously Millie Smith, and there's a lot of people that I communicate with that are always talking about programs and things going on at that campus. Like, I know you're proud of that campus. What do you think about that campus, and what vision or continued support do you have for the West Campus?
Well, that's a part of the goals that we have set for the university. We have launched this new strategic plan, and that's going to be outlined in our strategic plan. We feel that we have a unique advantage of being located in the heart of Dayton with
Hmm.
our CSU, what we call the West Campus.
Hmm.
And we currently hold classes and host community organizations like the Dayton Contemporary Dance Company
Hmm.
and others as well who are tenants in our facility there. We want to offer more academic programs there, as well as more certificate programs, and we want to do more in terms of workforce development. And again, we are an 1890 land grant institution. Part of what we do is extension
Right.
and reaching out to the various communities, and we want to do that from that campus. And we're even looking at having that campus basically as our online university.
Okay. Okay.
But we're not quite where we we're not where we want to be yet, but we're
Mhm.
working on it. But that campus is a jewel for us
It
right now,
is.
and
It is.
particularly for the location.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. And so again, the final question. I mean, you're already the president, so you don't really need to elevator pitch. But I do want you to make an elevator pitch for all those who are listening, who have young people who are interested in maybe furthering their careers, maybe looking into your MBA online program. Make a pitch for their child, their adult, their continuing student to come to be a Marauder.
Well, I always say that Central State University is here and ready to receive the next generation of leaders. And I often say that innovation is in our DNA, and that permeates throughout the campus. I invite everyone to look at our web, to come visit our university. We can prepare our students, and we provide a quality and world-class education right here at Central State University. Our faculty and staff are second to none. We care about your sons and daughters, and we are a student-centered university. I often say that we're not student-run, but every decision that we make is with the students' best interests at heart. We encourage our students to think big, to dream big, and achieve their goals. According to the secret of successful mountain climbing, if you aim at nothing, you will hit nothing. If your goals are vague, your achievements will be vague also. However, if your goals are specific, you will harvest specific results. Therefore, it is imperative that you aim high and that your goals are very, very specific. Send your sons and daughters to Central State University.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captain, the president, the preacher, Dr. Jack Thomas, thank you for coming on Straight No Chaser today, sir, and taking time out of your schedule. We certainly appreciate you, and I look forward to meeting you soon, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Bailey, for having me on. Thank you.
God bless you. Man, he closed that out. He closed that out pretty strong, didn't he? I'm like, I want to go back to school. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all the Marauders and all the students who left an indelible mark on my life, right? It wasn't but about two and a half short years that I was over there. But, you know, some of you have and still continue to be very, very important people in my life. Like, I mean, you know, Romeo, and I mean, I don't want to start naming names, but I mean, there are people who are just important people to my life. And so I am just Chris Aaron. I appreciate you, brother. See a revolution, be a revolution, man. I love you, young man. So listen, you heard them. If you're interested at all, if you got them on your list, consider Central State University. We're just here this week to celebrate HBCUs. Our next guest is a graduate of another HBCU. This one is in one of my favorite southern towns of America, in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Fayetteville State University grad, educator, speaker, and editor of this phenomenal anthology on Nannie Helen Burroughs. I asked you, Brother Stephen, if you got the picture, show it for the people. Welcome to our show. Please welcome to Straight No Chaser, Kalisha Graves. How are you, sister?
Excellent. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Oh, we're just excited. I'm giddy, man. President Thomas got me all excited. We had the band earlier, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And now I get to have you, a philosopher, a thinker, a educator, a writer, just a phenomenal sister in the community. I'm glad to be able to have you. And so, you know, we're celebrating HBCUs today. So let's just start there. Tell us about your student experience at an HBCU.
Yeah, so I attended Fayetteville State University for undergrad as well as for my doctorate. I'm completing my doctorate at FSU. And my HBCU experience was interesting because I actually transferred in to my HBCU from a PWI. And I did that because I wanted to be in an environment with people who look like me, but also people who look like me who had real ambitions and aspirations. So it was really just, and then also I have a lot of seed in the ground at FSU. My grandmother worked for the former chancellor at FSU, former Chancellor Lyons, back in the late 70s and 80s. My mother went there. My father went there. Both of my sisters got degrees from there. So it was part of the tradition, or I would say it was just a natural progression for me to end up at FSU. But it was just a home environment, a real genuine familial feel there. So yeah, I love my HBCU.
No question. And you know, I have, like, I don't know if you know this, but I have so many memories of rolling down Bragg Boulevard.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Right,
going
right.
to E.E. Smith football games.
Oh
and,
yeah. My mother went to E.E. Smith.
yeah, shopping at Cross Creek Mall.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then obviously hanging out over there on the Merc, you know, Emergency
Yeah.
Road, you know. So actually
Right.
funny, there's a funny story. Like, if anybody from Fayetteville listening, I hope you don't know what I'm talking about, but your mama might know it. Don't tell your daddy if she know. But one of my favorite hole in the walls in the entire country, I found randomly just driving downtown. It was called the Dirty Floor. And it was it was about in the mid 90s. And I'm sure they closed it down because they were building up downtown. But I found it one night just randomly driving. And when I came back and told my family that was supposed to be, like, how did you find a place like that? I was like, look, I like holes in the wall, you know?
Right.
So I found that. So shout out to the Bryan family, and, you know, for welcoming. And basically I was there so long in the 90s. And my best friend, Kevin, was a graduate of E.E. Smith. His mom taught English there, Ruth Bryan. And, you know, I just loved it. Actually, and my love of Fayetteville State came because of my dear friend and someone who I love dearly, who unfortunately passed away, and Marshonda Rhodey. And, you know, her dad, you know, owned the Rhodey Barbershop there, you know. And, you know, she was a graduate student there. She taught there at Fayetteville State. And so, you know, I used to go hang out with her when I'd come to town. And so I love Fayetteville. And of course, shout out to J. Cole. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Shout out to J. Cole. So tell us, like, you are currently, obviously, you are also working your PhD, right?
Yes. Finishing up my doctorate. Yeah.
Yeah. So what program are you in?
So I'm in the educational leadership program at FSU, and we have 2 tracks. So I'm on the higher ed track. So.
Okay. Congratulations. So I want to get to your book, right? I want to talk a little bit about your book. You know, those of us who know Nannie Helen Burroughs, we know her as being, as you write about, a civil rights icon, but also we know her, you know, as being, you know, I used to always call her sort of old Baptist, you know,
right,
old Baptist girl, you know. And so my granddaddy was a Baptist preacher, and he used to always kind of quote some of the old Baptist sisters, you know. And so we know her from doing the work that she did with the missions and stuff like that. So let's just talk about the book a little bit. Tell us why you put the book together, and a little bit about who Nannie Helen Burroughs was.
Yeah, so as a scholar, I'm interested in challenges, and I'm always attracted to or intrigued by voids in the literature. And what I realized was that there was a gaping hole in the literature as it relates to Nannie Helen Burroughs. And one of my things is I like to surf through bibliographies and footnotes. Like I can get a whole book and not read the book and just read the bibliography and footnotes. So what I found in, you know, reading a whole host of biographies is that she was a perpetual footnote in other folks' biographies and autobiographies and things. And I'm like, well, obviously she was there. So she must have been prominent. So why isn't it that we have something that represents or speaks to who she was, and, you know, as a thinker and as I consider her a philosopher. A lot there had been some articles and dissertations written about her, but there was nothing in book form. And the work that I did is really a work in intellectual history. It's a part of the African American Intellectual Heritage Series at the University of Notre Dame. And what I wanted to do was to position Burroughs as a thinker. So much so many times in African American history, we talk about what people do, right, or what they did, but rarely what they think. I start my class off every semester with this question. I said, when you think about Black folks in America, when you think about who we are historically, what comes to mind? And students always say, Jim Crow, beat down, police brutality, all of the pathologies that are associated with Blackness. And so we put all these words on the board, and I said, what's the one word you don't see up here? And they're like, I don't know. The one word that happens every semester, nobody ever says thinker, right? Nobody ever says thinker, which lets me know that the premise of who we are, right? We have to be able to reckon with that the foundation of who we are in terms of how we understand ourselves as people is we have to first begin with the premise that we are thinkers, right? Cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. And so writing this book was kind of my attempt to really situate or give Burroughs rather the respect that she deserved as a thinker. And when I started doing the research, I looked at the Library of Congress, and her archive was over 100,000 items. And so I'm like, somebody who's as prodigiously gifted and as prolific as she was, why is it that we don't have any repository that we can go to that demonstrates, who she was and what she thought, et cetera? So I really wanted to make a contribution to the literature in terms of Burroughs being a thinker, not just a doer, right? But also a thinker.
Yeah, no, so there's a couple things I want to follow up on, but the one thing I just want us to go back, you threw it in there, but we're going to put it in the chat room here. So you said that she was a perpetual footnote, right?
Yeah.
And so, it just made me think, right? I might have to put this on a sweatshirt, right? It ain't nothing wrong with being a perpetual footnote, right? I mean, there's a sense to which that you're being a footnote means that your impact, right, in some ways might even outweigh your importance, right? You know what I'm saying? So you may not have the big name, right?
Yeah.
But all the big names show you love. You see
right.
what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And so there's a sense to which that we need to think about, especially as we talk about leadership, as we talk about the ways in which we sort of help young people to find their voice. It may not be that you would be the one in front of the camera, but you would be a professional footnote for those who are in front of the camera, always reading and listening to what you have to say, right?
That's true. Yeah. And it really helps you to see how robust her network was. I mean, you're talking about somebody who Martin Luther King called upon, right? You're talking about somebody who was friends with Carter G. Woodson and W.E.B. Du Bois and Booker T. Washington. In fact, they facetiously called her Mrs. Booker T. Washington. So, I mean, the footnotes, as you mentioned, are demonstrative of impact, but it really also shows the breadth of her network.
No question. And so, one thing I want to throw at you is that, there's a, and I could open the book here and find out, but, I think, we think about Black Lives Matter, and we think about especially in the current movement where after George Floyd, you've seen all these folk, wearing the sweatshirt, you've seen cities painting murals, right? You've seen all this stuff going on, right? And then I was reminded by a segment that you raised about her where she said, give us dollars, give us ballots, but I don't need your pity. You see what I'm saying? And it just made me think about that. Like so many folk, right? They want to say, oh, yes, we were sorry about how Black people were being treated. We're going to put up a mural. We're going to let people know that, we believe Black Lives Matter. But when it comes down to, are you going to invest in sort of Black excellence? Are you going to invest in Black businesses? Are you going to ensure that there's equity and justice in whatever organization, schools, government, or whatever? Then they become silent. You know what I'm saying? And Nanny Burroughs talked about that. You want to kind of speak on that a little bit?
Yeah. So Dr. Burroughs was first and foremost as much as she was a thinker and a philosopher, she was a doer, right? But she was a constructive doer. So you talk about the various movements now, like Black Lives Matter, et cetera. She would have appreciated the zeal of those movements, but her next question would have been, okay, what are you building?
Mm.
So much about her life was as a matter of fact, one of my favorite articles that she wrote was called Why Our Dispositions Are Most Nigh Ruined, right? Or in other words, why our dispositions are almost destroyed. And one of the things that she said is that people who fuss are people who don't build. And so she had this thing, right, about perpetually fussing about issues or perpetually complaining about or arguing about social issues or social inequalities, right? She's like, forget all of that, okay? The way you achieve equality is to build the reality that you want to see, right? So she was interesting in the sense that she appreciated the zeal of movements. But her next question is, what is it? How are you using that same energy to build infrastructure, to build businesses, to build capital, right? How are you using that energy to actually build something that speaks to the reality that you want to see?
Right.
You know, so, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. I'm just amen it, right? Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
So, you know, you have Robert F. Williams, the infamous Negro with guns, right?
Right.
And while she appreciated the fervor that they exemplified, she was abhorred by disposition that was put forward by those movements. Remember, Burroughs is very Victorian in her how her morality, right? She's a Baptist Victorian woman, extremely conservative. So the way she approached issues was not always through the prism of what she called fussing, right, or complaining, but through the prism of how do we build another reality, right, and center ourselves in the building of that reality. So yeah, just I could go on and on, but just amazingly prolific.
But and building a reality, a political reality that was cross-racial, right? I mean, she wasn't necessarily. I mean, again, not to say I'm not here to qualify it, but I mean, there's a sense to which that she realized that, and as we know, the history of civil rights is this way, that that there has to be some sort of cross-racial coalition building at work, and that was kind of the work that she was doing as well.
Yeah. So yeah, she was definitely a proponent of kind of interracial cooperation, but she was also a proponent of don't interfere with what we're doing.
Right.
So she was very clear, right? She said we can work together to achieve certain political realities, but let's be clear. We are a distinct group of people, so don't interfere with our progress. So while she did support interracialism, she was very clear that didn't spill over into interfering in the affairs of Black folks. And in that way, I just use these folks as a reference, but I say, if you can think about Marcus Garvey, Booker T. Washington, and W.E.B. Du Bois, Carter G. Woodson wrapped up into one person, that's really who she was. She's like Garvey in the sense that she creates a community that's insular and that's self-sustaining. So that while we can exist, she's really big into nationhood, right? While we can exist within the nation, there's also something unique about us that we have to be able to develop and contribute to the world. Because remember, she's born in the 1870s, and she grows up in the 1880s, 1890s, and she's into her adulthood by the early 1900s. And the dominant philosophy during that time was this idea of racial conservationism, right? This idea of racial conservationism is that every race on the planet has a soul, right? Or has a Geist. Du Bois called it souls, the souls of Black folks. Anna Julia Cooper called it an exponent, right? She also called it the gift. So there was this idea that each race on the face of the planet had its particular set of gifts or its particular genius that it needed to express to the world. But the only way to cultivate that genius was to create an environment where people could build, right, and express what their particular contribution to the world would be. So she was especially in terms of her Christianity, she was a proponent of interracial cooperation,
Right.
calling upon the Christian white women of America. But she was very clear, we can work together, but don't interfere
Don't get in
in
the
our
way.
progress. That's right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are on with Kalisha Graves, the editor of this phenomenal book here. And we want to promote her work on Nannie Helen Burroughs. Again, if you have a question for her, we still have a few more minutes that we're on with it, and we're giving this book away. So I got my own, but you can have one yourself. So ask a question, let me know that you want this book and we can get this to you. So, certainly for those students who you educate, for those who are listening right now, we already know that you are certainly well read. You are certainly interdisciplinary. You're certainly a thinker as you kind of pull together intellectual resources. One of the things that's all of everything about you that's impressive, and one of the other things that's impressive about you is that you work on the Black College Quiz Bowl, right? And
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I tried it in grammar school. I tried it in high school, and I was like, man, ain't nobody doing all that practice for all that information. So I want you to talk about it because that is so cool, right? To watch Black students, learning about their history, learning about how to then become, sort of, trivia, knowledge folk, but then historians on what's important. Tell me about what got you connected with Black College Quiz Bowl, and then why that's important to you.
Yeah, well, it was actually an invite that came to my email to participate in the Black College Quiz Show. And it is a show that's designed to promote African American history, but also to get students some scholarship money in the process of them demonstrating their genius. So I got an email to participate. And when I first got the email, I was like, you kind of think somebody asked you to be on the show. You're like, is this really legit?
Right.
So so I called to confirm, and it was a legitimate opportunity, and so we chose one of our students to go and compete, and I served as a coach. So that was a marvelous experience, especially to see how game shows are made and how television is made. I had always seen Black College Quiz Show, early Saturday mornings. I was aware of the show, but to actually see how it's made and to participate in that process was just remarkable, right? You would think that a game show is kind of just fluid, like you just go through the show, but it's really a lot of starting and stopping, and people messing up, and even if you say a wrong answer, but they may not have got it, you have to go back and redo it. So it's a really interesting setup how game shows are made. So we had a lot of fun filming it. It was filmed in Atlanta. So and we got to visit the King Center and stuff while we were down there. So it was just a great experience, a very enriching experience. And as they say, there are no losers on the show, right? Everybody gets something. So even students that don't advance, because we don't say losers, but even students that may not advance to the next round still get scholarship money. So it's just a remarkable opportunity, and it's just a space where we can really affirm Black culture and also, as I say, edify students in the process.
No question. I imagine that such a process of planning and coaching, that necessitates a kind of discipline as well, right? And so, and so, do you have like a pool of students? Are they like the honor students? Are they just like any students can apply, or how does that kind of work?
So it's up to the coach to choose the particular student that they would want to take on the show, and the production company really handles a lot of the logistics in terms of the content and things like that. So there is a booklet that you receive just with general topics that you can kind of study, just to give the students an idea of what kinds of things they might be asked. So they'll have like a list of historical, people's names. So for instance, they, Nannie Helen Burroughs, W.E.B. Du Bois, Carter G. Woodson, and Anna Juliet Cooper. They would give you a list of these people, and your job would be to study up on those individuals. So they kind of give you a framework to work within. So it's not like you're just out there pulling answers out of thin air. You kind of have a framework for what you're working with.
And actually, that's interesting you say that, because I didn't know that. And in one, I think, and I guess you probably agree, as an educator, that's a better way to sort of teach, right? I mean,
yeah,
so
it is.
Certainly, I want to use the word kill two birds, but I mean, it's like you're able to teach, right? And then they know certain facts about them, where then if asked, right, as opposed to, asking them like, who founded the Niagara movement or that kind of stuff, right? That kind of thing, right? No, that's love. That's what's up.
But
so look,
it gets harder. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
It gets not harder, but it gets more challenging as you advance. Because you have a framework that you're working on, but as you advance through the show, they'll throw at you and say, okay, now your person, because there's a segment on the show with the coaches and the students where they give you a name of a person, and they you have to kind of mime or guess certain facts about the person. So as you advance through the show, you don't know what name you're going to get. So at one point we got Nipsey Hussle, but then when we had to film the very next show, they're like, okay, Diana Ross is your person now. So it gets challenging as you go, because at that point you kind of have to be able to think on your feet.
Wow. So listen, this has been great. We've kind of come to, I guess maybe the final question or something. I don't know, depending on how you respond. Listen, there's parents all over the country right now who are thinking about college, right? Obviously, COVID has kind of slowed down a lot of the Black college tours, and so a lot of this stuff is being done online and things like that. So there's someone that may be watching, or a parent or uncle or aunt that may be watching, who their kid has Fayetteville State on their list. You're an alum, you still work with them a little bit. Why should someone go ahead and press send on that application and venture on down Murchison Boulevard and consider Fayetteville State University, your alma mater?
Yes, my alma. I'm glad you asked that question. I call, HBCUs are colloquially referred to as a nation. I call HBCUs repairers of the breach. Right. And I say that to my students. They're like, what you talking about? Repairs of the breach in your consciousness. Right. Being at an HBCU. Right. And of course, being an alum of Fayetteville State University, it's the place where your consciousness can not only be molded, but affirmed. Right. To be within a cultural context where your identity is edified and where your identity is supported. So I call HBCUs the repairers of the breach. And certainly for me, Fayetteville State University was the repair of the breach in my consciousness. But also, if you want to get a jump start on your mission, come to an HBCU. Come to Fayetteville State University. You can get an education from anywhere, right? There's like 4,000 universities in the United States alone. You can get an education from anywhere. But if you want to get a jump start on your mission, that's a different question. That's a different orientation. And that's what HBCUs do for you. They give you a jump start on your mission. That's what FSU did for me. It gave me a jump start on my mission. And then also, I call it the Citadel for Educational Empowerment. Right? Where Citadel for Educational Empowerment, where you learn how to use your voice to advance the things that are important to you. Even in dealing with honor students, I said smart students know how to give the right answer, but they don't always know how to ask the right question. And so for me, being at an HBCU positions you to be able to ask certain kinds of questions, right? The kinds of questions that would allow you to arrive at the next level of insight. So 1, repairs of the breach. 2, get a jump start on your mission. And then 3, you want to be a part of a community that is a edifice for educational empowerment. And for me, HBCUs are that space, and Fayetteville State University was certainly that for me.
Wow. Well, I don't know. I need to, if I worked at Fayetteville State, I'd pay you for saying that commercial. I mean, you threw out the Citadel, you threw out all that kind of stuff. And the repairs of the breach, obviously shout out to Reverend Barber. But, the reality, though, and I thank you for this as we close, is that, that is the beauty, especially at this time. That is the beauty of what historically Black colleges can offer.
Yeah.
Right? It is certainly to sort of, as you say, it's not, you can go anywhere and be
Yeah.
able to answer questions, but you have to sort of understand the world a little bit more better to be able to ask the right questions, right?
That's right.
And so I think, it's that is a phenomenal construction, right? It's Socratic in a sense, right?
Yeah.
There is a sense to which I think that you made that reference. And so, listen, if there's anybody, obviously we've heard from the here in Central State University. Now we've heard from Fayetteville State University. HBCUs is certainly an important aspect of the development of your child. Please consider. Again, those of you, we will give one of Professor Graves' books away. And so please, Jasmine is figuring that out now. She will let me know who to give this book away to. And so certainly we thank you, Haklisha, for joining us. But we thank you for your work. We thank you for everything that you do. And on behalf of this set, we were just, you gave us a great interview. So thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the invitation. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
No problem. We'll be in touch soon. Take care.
Thank you.
All right. Well, there you have it. Listen, we were repped, by the Marauders of Central State. Obviously, Kalisha Graves just gave us a powerful closing argument on not just Fayetteville State, but of course, HBCUs in general. And, listen, you had to imagine, right, that this show ain't going to end without me repping. Look, I had this hoodie on for a reason, right? My mama raised me, but Howard made me. So y'all know I'm not going to let this hour and so go by without having at least some love to the Howard University. And so, but the very designer of this hoodie and many other clothing items for Black colleges is coming on next. My HU brother, tastemaker, entrepreneur, filmmaker, all that kind of stuff. My brother, Earl Christian III. How you doing, brother?
I'm blessed to be here.
All right. There we go.
And you see me out of my image.
Okay, yeah. So we're just going to talk a little bit while he comes on. But we're just excited. Of course, this sweatshirt here is one of the sweatshirts that I got from his website, and Sister Jasmine is going to put the website up for you. He has obviously Howard stuff, but he also has a lot of HBCU gear. You can press that link, and it'll take you over to other colleges and universities that you can buy gear from. Obviously, if you're a member of the Divine Nine, he has shoes and clothes and all that. That's wonderful for that as well. And so, it's just exciting to be able to have these 2 days again as we're waiting for him to come back on tomorrow, right? Wednesday, we'll have another show where we'll have the president of Florida A&M, the Rattlers, right, will be represented on Wednesday. We'll have a representative of Bethune-Cookman, also down there in Florida, who also now does some work for historically Black colleges through the United Negro College Fund and the Alumni Association, the National Alumni Association of the United Negro College Fund. We're excited to have that show, and author and a professor of African American Studies and History at Howard University, Josh Myers, and his work on the Howard University protest, right, of '89, which basically transformed my life, certainly. And so we're just excited to be able to bring you this show and to have a conversation like this at this very time. Are you considering an HBCU? Do you have a child considering an HBCU? You should really consider it. Obviously, I'm a representative right now. I'm a representative of Wittenberg University, and of course, I want you to come join me. But some of you need the HBCU experience. Some of your child needs that experience, and so I need to know if you are interested. You should play back this show. Ask the right questions. If you want to talk to me about it at another time, please do, because this show, I want to promote HBCUs and be able to let you know what's going on. So listen, I want to let you know that I am trying to stall, but if there's a problem, we might have to bring Earl back at another time. We can't keep this going. But again, remind you, this is voting week, right? This is the last week to vote before the general election on Tuesday. And so you want to make sure that you are there and making your, your vote count wherever you are. Listen, I'm excited. I'm full. We are certainly.
We can only see the background, but you want.
We are certainly going to, see if we can get Brother Earl on. Brother Earl, are you here?
Yeah, I'm not understanding. I do this. I'm not understanding why my camera's not working. I'm looking.
Okay.
So give me, this.
All right. Well, we have to talk, brother, if you don't mind.
Yeah, we can talk.
Yeah, let's just talk, right?
I'm talking right now, brother.
I know we want to see you, man, because you fly, you stay fly. So I know you got the gear on. You know what I'm saying? No question. So tell us, man, why you getting it together? What did Howard University mean to you, and what does HBCUs in general mean to our society?
Oh man, HBCU, Howard University, man, saved my life, Leon. When I'm from New York City, the Bronx, growing up, and I didn't know much about, HBCUs or college or anything, but fortunately, my mother, she had attended an HBCU for a semester, and she knew that's where I needed to be. And Howard just really empowered me to know who I was as a young Black man coming out of New York City. My place was going to be in America. It empowered me to be self-sufficient, independent, and essentially know that there's nothing that I can't do because I'm born from greatness, and greatness is expected of me. So Howard for me is the truth. It's the Mecca. That's why I'm going to go back to the Mecca.
I know that's right, brother. So
now listen.
Go ahead.
Let me say, I'm seeing you're in the show. Everyone can see and hear you, but you can't see me, right?
I can't see you. I see it like a cityscape behind you.
That's crazy because that's my backdrop. I'm in front of it. You see that? I'm in front of it.
Do you have it invisible? Do you have an invisible mode that you got on?
No, I'm looking
hologram or something.
I'm gonna get on here, but it's saying you're in the show. Everyone can see and hear you. So this is crazy.
Right. This is crazy.
We're gonna keep talking. I'm gonna figure this out.
FaceTime. Yeah, no, that's cool. So obviously this hoodie, right, that I have on, and like I told you, man, I need a brighter color, man. So we gotta talk, man. I need to be another brighter color. But tell us about, Urban Wall Street Inc., man. What is the vision behind everything that you do? Obviously, we talk about your film stuff later, but what is all this all about?
Like Urban Wall Street. Well, Urban Wall Street, essentially, Julius, it was born from the era of the Black Wall Street. That's what inspired me when I was a young kid. It was the Black Wall Street, and so for me, it was all about building and developing, controlling our communities and what we're about. But it was about redirecting and maximizing that urban dollar. Really about maximizing that urban dollar. The reason I'm kind of sitting because I'm trying to get to you in a couple.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm working right now. I think you're gonna be able to see me, brother. I think you're gonna be able to see me. I had to come to my phone. So audience, forgive me, my brother Julius. It's not him. Oh gosh, Julius.
But certainly maximizing that dollar and ensuring that it replicates throughout the community. And you've gotten a lot of support, right? Especially among HBCUs with your work.
Can you see me now, bro?
There you go. There you go.
All right. So we're gonna I'm gonna close this one down, and then I got the backdrop. So that's why you can't see my city, because you know I produce. So greetings. It says me. It should be Mr. Urban Wall Street or Earl Christian III. I was trying to get it together. It's a crazy morning. But Brother Julius, blessings.
Good to see you, man. Oh my God.
So I'm here.
Good. Bless you, man. So yeah, so again, tell us about the like I said, one of the things that I also find interesting about you is that you don't shy away from your love in the community and your work with young people, right? And I see you teaching kids how to make films and edit and stuff like that. So kind of tell us again, what's that aspect of your life all about?
Well, Young Producers is the program I created, Julius. I mean, I believe you were at School of C. Were you at School of C with me?
No, I was in liberal arts.
But we had a class together.
Right.
But I was at School of C, and Howard taught us your voice.
Right.
Your voice is your voice. And a lot of times in our communities, our children don't have that voice. Or they all have the voice, but they don't know they have it. They're not given the opportunity. So for me, it was important for students and young people to be able to tell their stories and express their view, their perspective of the world. A lot of times, we're adults. We tell kids how it has to be this way and the third. But do we actually ask them how they see it? What's their perception? So this was an opportunity for me to give kids a voice via something that I did. I was a production major at Howard. So I took what I, learned from Howard and brought it into the school system in 2008. And the program has been launched successfully. We've produced well over 250 short films in production with students.
Wow.
We've had green screen operations like you see behind me. And we've done a lot of great things. I mean, students' videos have gone viral. And then a lot of these students now, some of them have gone on to stay in this lane. So we planted seeds and really developed it. Some people find their nature, they find what their passion was. So it's beautiful. And so now with regard to that program moving forward, we're about to take this thing international as we did this summer.
No, that's exciting stuff, brother. And speaking of international, right, one of the things that, you have going on are your personal documentaries, right?
Yes.
And cultural creations, right?
Yes.
Obviously, the HU Howard Homecoming Experience, right?
Yes.
And you've done that, and you've also traveled across the world with various other kind of documentaries. So first, let's talk about the HU Homecoming Experience. Let's give Howard some love, and then we'll move into the Ghana conversation.
Oh, definitely. So Howard University, like I said, it saved my life. It changed my life. I met brothers like you, individuals who, think about it, before I had gone to Howard, I never even knew a doctor, a black doctor, a South Asian doctor. I never knew PhDs. I'm from the Bronx. I ain't know nothing about that. You feel what I'm saying? So it was really, in my high school, this wasn't really where it was. So, it was important for me to chronicle what changed my life. And every homecoming, we descend upon, DC, thousands of us, and it's an incredible 3 days every year, right? Except this year. Incredible 3 years. And I wanted to be able to show young people why you having this conversation, why at HBCU. See, growing up, my mother used to always tell me, don't tell me you're going to do better in school. Show me. Show me. Right? So it's very easy to tell somebody, oh, you can be a doctor, you can be a lawyer, you can be this when you're in the hood. But when they walk outside in my neighborhood, you ain't see that. So I wanted to be able to not just tell young people that I deal with and work with what you could become anything. I wanted to show them so that they can see it and believe like, wow, that can be me no matter where I come from. And I made a point when you saw the film, I incorporated pictures of some of us when we were young,
right,
and morphed into where we're now, so they could see like, oh, they didn't start with gray hair and bald. We started just like you. And so I did that film in 2014, the first one, Howard Homecoming Experience. It came out, did great critical acclaim. It got a lot of love, did really well. And then it did so well. A brother from Paris had sort of filmed, and he was a liaison. And that film launched the Black Excellence Tour, which I'll expound upon in a moment. And it brought me into Paris for the first time, right? And so in 2016, we went and we shot the Black Excellence Tour Paris. So we shot the first documentary, which was there to screen the Howard film. And so then in 2016, that Homecoming again, I said, last year was amazing. To my partner, I said, I'm have to do this again. And so we wind up doing Black Excellence Tour 2016, Howard Homecoming, right? Second film, again, wow, this is amazing. I said, no, I think I'm gonna have to do a trilogy because now I got two. You see what I'm saying, brother? I think I need to go ahead and round this out for the posterity of it. I'm looking at how it's evolving, all organically, no scripts, just straight natural. And then I did 150 years of Black excellence, which our 150th in 2017,
Right.
and that rounded out the trilogy. And that's when I created the box set, or the USB card with all 3 films on it. So I have the DVD of the original one, it's like a collector's item. We have some, and then I have the wallet size card,
The card,
and I can
yeah.
show you what that looks like. I can walk anywhere and pull out that card and so let me show you what it looks like real quick for you want to know. The card is like this. So I could at any given time have a screen. I could come to your house, Dion Julius. I could come to your crib, and I keep Dion Bailey. But I can come to your crib and pop this open. How 150 years. This is a USB drive, flash drive. You pop this into your computer, your flat screen TV. You have 9 hours, 5.5 days. 9 days, 5.5 hours of Black excellence. Howard Homecoming experience, Howard Homecoming 26 years, and then 150 years. All 3 films right here on this wallet size card. So I keep this in my wallet, and I can pull it out and have a screening at any time for any young people or any audience.
Wow. Shout out to Earl Christian III and the work that he does to promote Howard University, but as well, just to, like you said, promoting cultural realities and cultural excellence. So you've also recently been doing some work in Ghana. I want to show a quick clip, and then we'll talk a little bit about this as we close the interview.
Sure.
Mr. L,
Yes.
are you there?
Yes, brother, I'm here.
Okay. I really want to say thank you very much, because this is the first time we are directing and making movies on our own. And look at how far you are. Look at the distance that we are apart. That we are able to do this work, and it really taught us that we can do anything despite the distance. Wherever we are, we can do anything we want to do. And I also want to say that you've helped us a lot. And as Mr. Lucy said the other time, he's giving us, me especially, a challenge. And I've been thinking of it. And I'm really taking the challenge. And I want to do something like with this opportunity that I've been given and the things that I've learned from this young producing program. And I also want to say that we are also going to use this opportunity, pick the younger ones, those who didn't partake in what we did, so that this will be a process and to be like an activity in here in basics. And also, what we are also trying to learn more is how to edit on our own.
I got you.
Yes.
And I got
Yes.
you. I will teach you that too. I got you, brother.
Thank you very much.
I moved. Thank you, man. I moved, Obed. Thank you. Yes. Who's that, brother? Who's that?
Brother Joy.
Yes, Joy, my brother Joy. Haha.
So you have really introduced me to knowing that I can really act. I never knew I had such a great talent. At first, I was seeing like it was a hectic job for the people who act. I never knew it was this easy. And you have helped me be able to increase on my confidence and be able to act more and know that everything that I want to do, I can do it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Joy. Joy, thank you very much.
Man, brother, like I'm gonna make a quick turn here, but you made reference to the fact that a lot of lessons we learned at Howard. One of the things as I watch this video and I watch the sincerity that they have for you, it just reminds me again just how important you are personally, but how important again lessons and experiences like Howard is, because Howard teaches us, right, that this world is international, that Black people are Pan-African, and that our impact needs to be to our communities, but also to the world, man. And that video, like I almost want to tear up, man, because and I know it hits you, man, because
Yes.
this again is your legacy, like your urban producers that you do in Brooklyn, that you do in the Bronx, you do in New York. Now you also have these students in Ghana, and you probably touch lives in Paris and Amsterdam and everything else. So just kind of give me a visceral, like, what does this work mean to you, man?
That, Julius, doctor, you never know what you're going to do when you're young. You know, if I, you know, what I thought, I never thought I'd be working with kids. I never thought I'd be, even on this journey, this path. I always knew at Howard, because, you know, I was the barber. Once I tapped into that independence, I knew I would be independent. But it just what it means to me, everything, because it's my freedom. It's my freedom. It's everything to me. You know what I'm saying? Time. That's why my company's called, my brand, part of my brand is the Time Collection. Because time for me is my greatest commodity, it's my greatest asset. You can't make more of it. It's going to keep coming and you can't stop it from coming. So you have to take advantage of it. And so for me, just the time, you know, that I utilize to travel to Paris and to connect with our people. And when I'm in Paris, like you talking about, you watch that video and you teared up. In 2019, the Black Excellence Tour, I went to Paris and we did the Black Excellence Tour Paris 2. You can see that at blackexcellencetour.com right now. That's the sequel to Black Excellence Tour we did in 2016. And brother Julius, man, during this engagement, when people came for my screening, when people came from all different places, Black, white, Asian, you know, African, but all Parisians, and they all loved who was here. I felt like James Baldwin. There was no colors, it was just humanity. And I was talking like this, and that room became so emotional. I'm tearing up, the audience is tearing up, and then at the end, I mean, everybody just kind of stayed, and nobody wanted me to leave. They were thanking me for being there. So it just lets me know that, you know, I don't do the black or white thing anymore like that so much. I understand it, but once I started traveling, I started realizing it's about humanity.
Yes.
It's about humanity. And that's where my goal is I'm 52 years old. For the rest of my life, I want to do things that's going to impact humanity, not just domestic African Americans, but I'm calling myself an American African. Right. I'm African in America. Respect is on the surname. So I'm not saying African American, I'm American African, which I have a brand for. And it's about that because we are the leaders. When we realize they're not Black Americans, African Americans, we are the people of color, the Black people that the world, Black people all over are looking to. They're waiting for our moves. So if our moves are not beneficial to the culture here, it's not going to be beneficial to the culture globally, in my opinion.
Brother, man, you know, like I said, man, look, you know, I'm just going to reach out to you again, probably just bring you on by yourself, because we, you know, our time is cut short here, but I would want to thank you so much for coming on the show. And more so, I just want to thank you for all you do for Black culture, for all you do for Black excellence, for all you do in representing young people and showing young people how to sort of live in their dream and to operate in their excellence. And obviously, I want to thank you for being one of our most important Howard University ambassadors and my brother. And I thank you. And I'll be contacting you soon, man. Thanks for coming on the show.
Definitely, anytime, brother. Appreciate you.
Take care. So listen, guys, we're going to, I'm just touched, right? Because this show just reminds me, yes, I'm going to promote my school. I work, you know, at the benefit of Wittenberg University and all the schools that I've gone to before. But, you know, there's something about the historically Black college experience. And there's something about the experience within a particular time and space. And, you know, all the stuff that we're going through in America right now, you know, it may be just the right time for your child to say, you know what, I need to be a part of a nurturing, developing community. I just have to have it. And if that's the case, you might want to look to HBCUs. You heard from the president of Central State University. You heard from a Fayetteville State University grad. And you heard from my brother, Howard University, Earl Christian III. Look, hit up the website. You saw the blackexcellencetour.com. You saw the shirts, the website for the shirts and all kind of gear from all over the Black colleges across the country. But more so, forward this show, share the show. Anybody you know that's thinking about attending an HBCU, please come. And Wednesday show again, we will have the president of Florida A&M University, the Rattlers. President Robinson will be here on Wednesday. We will have Professor Josh Myers from Howard University talking about his phenomenal book that deals specifically with the Howard University protest of 1989. And then we will have another conversation on the role of historically black colleges and funding and all that kind of stuff as well on Wednesday. And so please, with Andre, so please join us Wednesday. Thank you. Sorry for the little gaffes we had, little issues we had. Just know that we love you. We love your support. We thank you. And we look forward to seeing you Wednesday. Take care. Stay strong.